So let's just finish off with some tips and tricks. Hopefully you'll find these useful. I've only got 2 of them. My first one is that it's easier if you reference as you go. So a rule that I have in my house is that if you have a dirty dish and you bring it to the sink, then you need to wash it immediately. And that's much better, I feel, than leaving a big pile of smelly dishes and then doing them all at once, which is quite unpleasant. So I feel like references are the same. When I'm writing a paper, I slowly accumulate references, and as I'm doing that, I'm slowly building my reference list at the same time, rather than doing my whole body, writing everything, all my in-text citations, and then writing my reference list all at the end. I find that's much more annoying, and yeah, not as preferable. So you might find it different, but I find that's a useful tip for, it's been useful for me. And then we have my second tip, which is, and this might save you some time, and that is that you can use different apps or websites to do some citing for you. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind is that if you're using these sites, quite often when they give you a reference, there might actually be mistakes in the reference, and you need to know referencing well enough in order to identify what's wrong with those references. So if, it's very common for some people just to put these citations into their assignments, and there'll be mistakes there, but they don't actually realize that when they're using these apps. So I've got an example here from Citation Machine that I'll show you. So this is citationmachine.com. As of early 2020, this is like a useful or seems to be a popular site. So usually they have this kind of like annoying sequence of how to do this. So what I'll do is I'll click, I only want to create citations. I'm using APA style, so I'll click on that. And I've already done this search before, but what I'll do is I'll try to search for the title of this book. Those of you who are doing HumServe 102, and I'll put that in there and search books. And here they have the 2019. Now, the book that I have is actually 2016, so you might need to change that. But basically, let's say this was the 2016 version. I know that it's the right one because the first author has the surname Siegelman. So I'm going to select that. And again, these websites, they're not actually that user-friendly. They can be annoying to use. I don't use these websites ever. I do my stuff manually, but it might be useful to you. So I click on that, and then it brings me to this next page where it's like, are these authors correct? And it's like, yes, I think so. Yeah, actually, this isn't correct because these are different authors. In this edition that I'm using, there's the second author is named Ryder. So this actually isn't correct. Let's just pretend it is correct. So you need to change these if they weren't correct. This is the name of the book. This is the publication info and the year. And then what I'll do is I'll create citation. And what it usually does is it spits out a citation for you like this. It's got 2 versions here, which I'm not sure what the difference is, but basically you can just copy and paste this and put this in your assignment. Okay, but again, it might give you some mistakes and you need to be able to identify those mistakes. Okay, so getting back to our presentation. So you can use these apps. They might be able to save you some time. You can play around with that. There is other programs. So you can use these different websites. There's heaps of different apps out there that can help you with referencing, like RefWorks, Zendoro, EndNote. I don't have time to go into detail about how to use those here, but they can also save you some time. Again, though, I know a bunch of people that, obviously professional academics that write papers, and I actually don't know anyone who uses these, although actually I use Mendeley, but Mendeley is a bit different. But in terms of doing the references for you, most academics I know just do the references manually. So, it's up to you. Oh, there's another one here. Anyway, that concludes my presentation about citations. Hopefully that's been useful to you, and I'll see you in the next guide.